Nicolas Cage. Uh-huh. I don't, you know, speechless. Yeah, definitely. I'm just gonna sit down for this. The Munsters. Rob Zombies. The Munsters. What was this? I know the big question on your mind here is, did Scotty think it was worse than Halloween 2? No. No, I did not. So, I guess you'll know where my ranking is with that. But, what was this? A movie? Got me fooled. It seemed almost like 3 episodes of a TV series swooshed together almost. One is where they're putting together Herman and everything, and then one is where he meets Lily and they have a date and there's a real estate thing, and then the third one is they go to America and buy the house and there's a Halloween party, because of course there is, and yeah. So a little backstory. As you can see, I have the complete series of the Munsters right over there. I grew up with it, watching it on Nick at Night. I love the show. I've even watched maybe one of the movies. I watched the Munsters Revenge with Sid Caesar back when I was a kid. It was on Disney Channel of all things. So when it was announced they're going to be making a live-action Munsters movie reboot, I mean, they've tried to bring it back before. They did the Munsters Today back in the 80s, where Jason Marsden was Eddie Munster for some reason, and the dad from Pippi Longstocking was and then they had that serious remake, Mockingbird Lane, which didn't go anywhere. So now we have this, directed by Rob Zombie. I was like, oh, Munsters reboot film coming from Universal. Rob Zombie to direct. Why? I understand. Rob Zombie is a hardcore Munsters fan. It's been in the background of some of his movies, I noticed watching through them. But Rob Zombie just... There's no doubt he's a great director. He has a great visual style, a great kind of... He likes the grimy... the whole grindhouse, dirty kind of feel. Which this does sort of work with, although he does go a little too vibrant with the colors. But everyone was worried when they, oh no, he's going to turn the Munsters into some rated R swear fest with, rape, and can you blame us for thinking that? Then they said it was going to be PG, and it's like, okay. And they do get away with a few things. And like they have Richard Brake's character swear, but it's like beeped out on TV. So that's a clever way to do it. Basically, like he says something and it beeps him and he says, kiss my ass, but it beeps out the ass part. So you can add that into it. I always thought that the worst part of Rob Zombie's movies is one of the bad parts. Second worst part, I guess, is his writing. Is that the guy just... This is better because there's not a whole bunch of F-bombs, which I kept waiting for. At least one, but this is PG, so... And not 80s PG, so you can't get away with that. He wanted to be faithful to the original source material. So why wasn't it in black and white? I feel like it should have been. I feel like it should have been in black and white. It's in color, and it's too saturated, too oversaturated with the colors. There's too much. There's too much colors. It's coming at you too much, too fast. And I didn't care for the origin story. I wanted to see that. For the most part, it does have the feel of a TV show. Daniel Roebuck as Grandpa. They call him the Count, but I'm just gonna call him Grandpa because that's what he's, Grandpa Munster. Is the best in his film, bar none. He's great. He has mannerisms and everything, and he's doing them right. He's not trying too hard to do them, unlike Sherry Moon Zombie, who is trying way too hard to be Yvonne DiCarlo, whereas he's doing a great impression of Al Lewis, but not going too over the top, not trying too hard. She is doing way too over the top, trying way too hard to be Yvonne DiCarlo, and it just doesn't work. Likewise with Jeff Daniel Phillips, trying to be Fred Gwynn as Herman Munster, doing but he doesn't do it right. It's like or whatever. It doesn't come out right. I could do see, I could do it better. And his voice just doesn't work. It squeaks like he's going through puberty all the time. I did like Richard Brake and Jorge Garcia's characters, Dr. Wolfgang and Floop. I thought they were kind of funny. There are some times I legitimately laughed. And I also like Sylvester McCoy as Igor. And I was confused at first. I'm like, Igor? Wasn't that his pet bat that he had, the grandpa had, not his assistant? Well, yes, because we gotta have an origin story for everything. Igor, the lab assistant, played by Sylvester McCoy, the 7th Doctor, becomes Igor the Bat by the end of this. Because we gotta have a... And I swear that Sherry Moon Zombie and Daniel Roebuck played 2 different roles in this. There's this morning show where there's this female host at first, like a female news anchor. I swear it's Sherry Moon Zombie with weird makeup and fake teeth. And there's another talk show host that I swear is Daniel Roebuck. I don't know. And it's really weird because you got Grandpa watching the TV while this is going on and watching himself. It's really weird. But it just goes on. This movie was an hour and 49 minutes. Hour and 49 minutes, this thing, or 48, whatever. 1 minute off, who cares? I saw that this morning. I'm like, how long is it? I wanted to see how long it was. An hour and 48 minutes. Why? Why is this long? Like, oh, maybe it's justified. No, it's just a string of things happening. They dig up the parts for Herman. The very generic thing of Floop messing up and getting the wrong brain happens because we haven't seen that a million times. And then it's created. And then they see him on a talk show, and she falls in love with him, and then she goes to see him at his dressing room, and he falls in love with her. End of Act 1. Then they go on a date, and then they go on a date a couple times. He asks her to marry her. They get married. There's some real estate scheme where the brother, which didn't exist in the show, by the way, it's like a werewolf brother, which doesn't make any sense because they're vampires. And then he's a werewolf unless the mom was a werewolf. I don't know. And try to justify this to me. Sherry Moon Zombie, the now 51-year-old Sherry Moon Zombie, is in a prequel starring as Lily. And you can sit there and go, oh, well, technically she's a vampire, she's dead, she doesn't age, but it's just supposed to be a prequel. You think they would find someone who's a little bit younger, like maybe in their 30s, would work better. Yes, they're all around that age, I am aware, but still. Maybe cast actors, first of all, that can act, and second of all, that are more age appropriate to play the young Munsters. And I get it, they're all dead. Herman is a bunch of dead people. He's a Frankenstein, basically. And watching the beginning, I'm like, is this the Munsters or Frankenstein? Because I'm getting a lot of Frankenstein stuff with it, basically. Yeah, so then you have that saying that they get married and they go on a date in Paris and everyone is scared because, that old thing. And from that point, when they're going places and they're scaring real people, that feels like the Munsters. At the beginning of this, when they're in Transylvania, surrounded by a bunch of monsters, it doesn't work. Because the whole thing, much like the Addams Family, which this show blatantly did copy, by the way, the whole thing with them was they're a weird looking family in a normal neighborhood. Kind of like with the Brady Bunch movies, to be honest, but kind of like that. They're a weird family in a normal neighborhood, a normal world. And you start them off in this monster world of monsters, and it's like, it doesn't work because that's not, what the show was about. And you only get that in the second half of this film. They do the joke where they go on a plane. Oh, they pumped us up to first class, but everybody else is different. The stewardess kept pushing them away to the point that the stewardess or flight attendant, whatever they prefer, jumps out the thing with a parachute to get away from them. Huh? Also, the jokes. Some jokes I left out. There was a couple that were in my eyes. One of them I can't remember, but another one did. When they're asking, when Herman comes over for dinner and he brings a bottle of O negative, and he's like, your grandpa says, "Oh, come on, you couldn't have brought some wine?" And Lily says, "Oh, Daddy, you know I never drink wine." Ha! Because Dracula said it, so it's funny. It's stuff like that. This makes me. And Herman is supposedly a stand-up comedian with dad jokes. Like, yeah, I can't remember any off the top of my head. I don't really want to, but the dad jokes. Something like, went fishing. Guy said he had another bite in a week, so I bit him. He doesn't do that joke, but that level of cheesy dad jokes that you just roll in your eyes. All right. I feel like I don't even understand. And he's touting us the greatest love story ever told. I don't care. Like, we know they're gonna get together. And I do appreciate they didn't try the whole, like, grandpa's down in his lab trying to create a perfect husband. And it does seem like the show where he's down in the lab trying to make something. Perfect husband for her. He uses hair of Tarzan, but it's really hair of Cheetah the gorilla, or the chimp, from the Tarzan movies. Which, they don't ever specify when this takes place. I know it says that the modern day, but it doesn't feel that way. They're all answering regular looking telephones. There's no cell phones that I can tell. Like, that I could see anyway. Yeah, basically there's this money-making scheme by the brother-in-law. He messes up. They lose their mansion in Transylvania, so they're forced to move to America. They talk to the real estate agent, who is Cassandra Peterson, aka Elvira, Mistress of the Dark. And she's the one dressed as a witch in the commercial, the trailer. And so they just move there, and they win a Halloween contest because, ha, their makeup is so good. Ha. To be fair, it is something they would have done on a TV show. But it feels like some overdone in these types of shows that where the monsters win the contest because they're so lifelike. It's just overdone. But, yeah. And then it just ends. The brother shows up, says, "I know I screwed you out, but I made a killing in Vegas." He hands Herman the check. Check goes where... The check says... Herman says, "We're rich." Movie ends. Theme song plays. We get the opening that was the teaser for this movie. That's at the end for some reason. In black and white. It looks better than the rest of this movie. This movie should have been in black and white. I have a thought that maybe Rob Zombie wanted to do this in black and white, but Universal said, no, it has to be in color. No one's going to watch a black and white movie. If it's the Munsters, I would. I think Munsters Revenge is in color too, but that's like the old Technicolor days, not brightly lit like now, so it's probably a little bit better. This was just... I don't know what this was. I had no hope. I had no, nothing. No hope for anything going into this. So I'm not disappointed because I kind of, brace myself for disappointment going into this. So there's that, but it just, no. I would just say it's not worth your time. It's not insufferable to me because, you can sit there and say, well, wait, Halloween 2, you said, kind of offended you as a fan of Halloween and Michael Myers, but as a fan of Munsters, you're okay with this? This was clearly... Okay, here's the difference. Rob Zombie didn't want to make a sequel to his Halloween. His first Halloween movie is actually decent. Okay? It's actually decent. While the first half is all Rob Zombie bullshit, the second half is pretty good. The second one he didn't want to make. So he just went overboard and did his own thing with it. He had full control and just sort of blurbed all over it, making it the most Rob Zombie-ish movie. It's not a Halloween movie, it's Rob Zombie movie featuring Michael Myers. That's all it is. This one looks and feels, without the black and white, like a Munsters movie. Almost a Munsters parody, to be honest. But a Munsters movie nonetheless. And the only thing I say with parody is because of Sherry Moon Zombie's acting is terrible. But, so, it is a tribute. He wanted to do this. That's the difference. So, but it's not much better. Not much. So I'll just say it's not worth your time. That's my rating. So, what are your thoughts on Rob Zombie's The Munsters? In the comments below, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. I've been Scotty. I'll see you in the next one.